The 12-inch MacBook was released in early 2015, and being the dedicated tech reviewer that I am, it's taken me almost a year to review it, and I honestly don't know why. This is a new product type and definitely deserves to be put under the microscope. It's gorgeous and super portable, but it also has a plethora of compromises to achieve the previously mentioned size. Let's start with the very first thing you'll notice. No, it's not the Retina display. No, it's not the new color options. And no, it's not the size. It's the price tag. It starts at $1,300 for the base model, and that immediately tells you it's a premium product targeted at a premium market. So if you're a buyer with that price is even a little bit of a concern, it's time to look elsewhere. But it's also a first-gen product, so only time will tell if the issues are worked out in the future. And Apple has a tendency to push the market in certain directions, and I recently did a video on 6 ways Apple has changed the tech market and tech industry, so you can click on the card on screen now if you want to go check that out. Before I mention all the compromises, I want to talk about what Apple did right with the 12-inch MacBook. Starting with the design, this is a beautiful product. You can get it in silver, space gray, or gold. I have the space gray version, and it is really, really good looking. I am using a copper skim from Slick Wraps on the top of mine, 1 because it looks really cool, and 2 because it protects the surface from scratches and scuffs. I don't plan on keeping this $1,300 laptop for very long, so keeping it in pristine condition is very important, and I'll leave a link down below if you want to check out some skins for yourself. But good looks are pretty much standard for Apple products these days, except for the battery case. But Apple did surprise us with some features in this MacBook. The 12-inch screen is rocking a 2304 by 1440 resolution and, as you might expect, looks crispy as can be. Literally everything you do on this laptop looks amazing. The speakers actually surprised me. They're upward facing, they're stereo speakers, and they sound loud and crispy to a point where I felt no need to have a dedicated pair of speakers on my desk. And the last thing Apple really nailed on the head was portability. It's unbelievably thin and small and weighs just 2 pounds. It's so portable, I actually bring it to school in the pocket of my backpack that's meant for an iPad. Its portable and small size is a nice segue into all the compromises Apple made with this device. First things first, it has a total of 2 ports, a headphone jack and a USB-C port. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that they adopted the USB-C interface, but 1 port? You're charging and need a USB port? Adapter. Regular USB drive? Adapter. Output to a monitor? Adapter. SD card? Adapter. You get the point. The fun doesn't stop there. Apple did manage to squeeze in a halfway decent battery in this laptop, but only by completely changing the keyboard and trackpad. The keyboard is closer to a touchscreen keyboard than a real one. The travel distance is tiny, and after 2 weeks, I still make typing errors way more often than I should due to the lack of any tactile feeling. The trackpad isn't quite as bad as the keyboard. Instead of a physical click, it actually simulates a clicking feel and sound. This works great in theory, but the click isn't as sharp as a real one is, and it feels just slightly dull. You can tell it's not real. I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking. With less space on the inside means no fans, which means less powerful hardware. It's not quite as bad as you'd think. Jonathan Morrison recently did a video actually using the MacBook in Final Cut Pro in 4K video, editing and rendering 4K video, and it did surprisingly well. But that's optimized software. If you're using software that's not optimized for the operating system and for the hardware, you're gonna have a rough time. It's rocking a mere 1.1 GHz dual-core Intel Core M processor, which is a mobile CPU. That's really the only downfall. The rest of the specs are pretty impressive and include 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of PCIe-based SSD storage, which makes regular use really snappy. My last complaints have nothing to do with size. The webcam is only 480p, and that's simply unacceptable. And to top it all off, you can't easily open it with 1 finger. You need to pry it open a little bit to open it correctly. So where does that leave us? Because I mentioned significantly more drawbacks than advantages, the $1,300 12-inch MacBook is more of a proof of concept. It shows that Apple can make a thin and lightweight body and pair it with a beautiful screen, and in the end you get a very good user experience, but they just made too many compromises. In my opinion, if they could drop it to $1,000, if they added more ports, and if they made the keyboard a little bit more tactile, they would have a product that I would actually buy and keep. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, subscribe to see more content, and as always, stay classy.